Hi, my name's Yasmin and I'm the DM.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I play Elora Greyvale and she is a sorceress from the province of Nephalia.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I play Ogvar Shawfort, the goat-herding, mushroom-seeking ranger from Kessig.
Hi, I'm Rick, and I play Otto, a spring sage from Hanweir sworn to the land, wandering the plain and setting wrongs to right with his ursine companion, Bojo.
Well, here we are, folks. After 4.5 years, The Secrets of the Silver City draws things to a close with episode 200. What an epic journey. How much we have shared as a podcast crew and how much we have loved every moment. As we head into the concluding part, we would like to thank our amazing DM Yaz for her creativity, patience and fantastic story crafting, and to you, our loyal listeners, for travelling the long winding path of laughter and tears alongside us. We would also like to publicly thank our fated dice for both their poorly veiled villainy and glorious generosity on our tumultuous trek across Innistrad in search of a solution to our quest. Next week, we will be releasing episode 201. This will be a campaign after chat with some of the crew reflecting on their experience of the campaign, so remember to join us for that one too. Yesterday, on the 13th of December, we posted a blog on our Facebook group. It was a huge announcement sharing crucial information about what comes next for us and our listeners from the 1st of January 2026. We highly recommend you hop on over and read it, as we are fully rebranding from the Dungeons & Dragons Podcast UK to Realm of Rolls. With a new website, additional social media, Discord server, Patreon, Ko-Fi, and most importantly, a whole new streaming channel for us to drop a host of new content that we have already recorded that is waiting to roll in early January. All the links you need can be found on our new website, www.realmofrolls.co.uk. Be sure to visit, grab those links and take a sneaky peek at what's coming up on our adventures page. You're sure to like it. If you have any questions, then you can message us at realmofrolls@gmail.com or drop us a note on any of our social media spots or via our website contact page. Now, on to other important business. Last week was somewhat bittersweet as we witnessed an elated Elora excitedly sharing her foray into a fortuitous home ownership of an affluent nature. Unfortunately, this celebration was curtailed a short time later by the impromptu arrival of a small brown horse bearing a very injured Evan upon its back. As Belle and Lena take charge of their patient, Otto decides a rest is his primary requirement, whilst our sorceress and ranger felt the rhubarb and elderflower beckoning. Kicking back in front of the hearth with her bestie, Elora's poison was a drop of liquid fire as they pondered over what sticky situation her beloved bat had gotten himself into this time. A night flight for Otto the owl saw his return to the mine laden with a basket of food for the hard-working folks. Meanwhile, the jerry-rigged shower aboard the boat was proving itself a problem, as a lack of a plug hole was resulting in a bit of a paddling pool. Episode 200, Epilogue.
Okay, so welcome everyone to the final episode of The Secrets of the Silver City.
Woo!
Hooray! Yay!
So
We sounded like we were excited about that.
it sounded very cue cardish.
Did it?
It did, yes.
Okay, you can put down the clapperboard now. Thank you there, Martin, in the corner.
Who's Martin?
I don't know, I made him up. He's my imaginary friend.
Oh God! Right, all the more reason to end this campaign then.
You play D&D, you've got enough imaginary
This
friends.
is what happens after 4.5 years.
Okay, so for all of our listeners, we very unfortunately don't have Rick tonight. He's been pulled away by a couple of personal matters. So we are quite unfortunately closing out without our beloved Otto in the flesh.
Boo!
But show must go on, so here we are.
Yay!
Last episode, we left with Ogvar and Delora aboard the Elysian Shadow, dealing with a minor flooding issue thanks to their jerry-rigged shower overflowing. And
Whoops.
Otto had swept off of the deck parcel of food and supplies in Talon as he took the form of a giant owl and flew back towards the mine. So, the shower issue is quite handily handled by Paul. He is able to get a mop and bucket.
Bucket. This is as good as the Dak Daniels, isn't it?
And he is able to clean up the mess, tidy things up, and get the ship back into some kind of order without filling the entire thing. Throughout the evening, you have a decent rest. Is there anything specifically that you are doing, either of you?
I don't think so. I think I'd try and retrieve Rowan. I think it would be time to try and retrieve Rowan. So I'd just give him a bit of a call. Sort of, Rowan, where are you? Okay, come on. And she's going to use a bit of an empathic link to call him back.
Yeah, you're able to retrieve your bat. He comes fluttering in through, emerging from the dark sky, rejoining you, a little bit sticky, a little bit alcohol smelling. He's clearly been up to Rowan things while he's been out of your line of sight. So your evening is spent peacefully. You get some good rest, and Otto has managed to return to the mine with said goodies. He's able to feed everyone, reconnect with Esther and Kaif. And you did previously have the information from Esther that the men in the mine were moving at a far more rapid pace than previously projected. And Otto would see as he arrives back in the mine that indeed they have actually cleared out fully the bottom floor of the mine, and they were kind of waiting for him to go up to the next floor before they kind of started heading up into that area. At this pace, it doesn't take many more days before the mine is completely cleared. The bodies and the corpses are removed and put to rest, either burnt or buried, depending on whether they are friend or foe. The objects, the things that have been left behind, like papers, have been burnt. Glass vials and alchemical apparatus has been destroyed. It's been thoroughly smashed.
Would perhaps Otto would have taken perhaps a canister or sample of the red liquid to take back to Thraben? If there was something safe, might he have done that? I think perhaps the rest of his companions might have asked him to do that we could take as much information back to Thraben as possible.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's probably actually a fairly fair assessment. I imagine that in that case, if you've said to Otto, and I imagine Otto's communicated backwards and forth, and if not Otto, surely Esther will have done so. I would say you probably have a couple of crates of items, so probably papers that haven't been burnt, some what looks like research papers, various objects which are hanging around which look like they've been used for nefarious purposes, samples of the alchemical solutions that were being brewed and being made. Even I would actually say Otto if you're asking for things to be brought back, I imagine Otto would have probably actually started sampling some of the parts from Galor's twisted form, and he would have boxed up or bottled up using some of the beakers and jars and God knows what other apparatus to actually take like samples of the different kinds of flesh. You've got this very reptilian, very demonic looking flesh, and just basically started sampling and just getting as much information as possible. I'd say that's very, very easy to do. So by the time the mine is fully cleared and reinstated to its former purpose as a mine, when Otto and the miners return to town, they are touting with them 2 large crates of the information that you seek to bring back to the cathedral at Thraben. And they are also bringing back several bodies. Not all of the bodies that were in the mine were the villagers' bodies that were in the mine were so decayed or in such bad repair that they couldn't be brought back. So there are, I'd say, probably about 5 or 6 bodies which are returned. In that time period, that kind of, I'd say probably about 3 or 4 days this has taken. In that time period, what would the 2 of you been doing?
I think Alora would have spent some more time, perhaps with Lena. I think she would have spent some time in the church. She would have told Lena a little bit about their journey. Perhaps not entirely about the missive, but certain elements she would have left out. But she would certainly have discussed. The influences that they had with Avacyn, where she appeared to them, and the form in which that took. So with Cuin and the feather, and obviously with when they found Hans in the cage. I mean, they didn't know it was Hans at the time, but what had happened there. And I think she would talk about her own. I think she would actually discuss her own upbringing and the fact that she was very leg on each side of the fence, a bit atheist really, but that things had changed, that she looked on things very differently. I think that's definitely something she would have done. She would also have visited Hans, probably with Ogvar, I would imagine, but would have visited, Hans and Eric and Genric to see how they were getting on. Just kept a close eye on that, and then just bumbling around, seeing who she could help. Maybe help Belle, barkeep if he needed any tasks doing. General stuff. She would have chatted to Paul as well, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ogvar?
I think Ogvar would make use of his time, basically just enjoying being back in Kessig. Obviously helping Laura where needed. Going to see Hans and Genric and his name's just Eric. His name's escaped me there. Sorry. But most of the time, like his free time, he'd be enjoying being outside the town, outside the walls, being back in nature. Really, I suppose. Reconnecting would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, your journey has been long. It's taken you all the way up to Thraben, then back down through Nephalia, and then obviously back through into the hinterlands. And you've mostly flown over this very familiar autumnal woodland. And now you're back on the ground. You're able to properly reconnect with nature. You're able to kind of see, perhaps go hunting, go trapping, the normal things that you would do as a man of the woods on a day-to-day basis had you not been so heavily embroiled in this mission that you've been sent on. You're able to do that, and it's nice. It's nice to be back amongst the loamy floors and the tree bark, and just back in this natural environment, not the city environment that you're not used to.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think also what he would do is he's still been holding on to and not used his postcard from Selhoff Cathedral. Because now he has a couple of days to spare, he actually has got time to sort of sit down and really concentrate hard about writing, because it's not his strong suit, and probably would put a letter together to his parents, sort of not updating fully of what's gone on, but yeah, sort of like saying like where he's been is coming to an end. He feels, and sort of say he's got a few irons in the fire, so to speak, of what to go on with next. So he may be home, he may not be, but just convey that he's okay.
Yeah. And you're able to obviously write your postcard. There's nowhere really at the moment to send it, with Gatstaff being in a little bit of turmoil, and obviously not being a major city which has got the kind of courier pathways running through. But you imagine that there will be somewhere on the next stages of your journey, you will come across a location where you will be able to send that message.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. So your days in the town and in the surrounding woodlands are peaceful. They're enjoyable, and you're able to see this community kind of knit back together. The people are settling back down. Obviously, the nastiness in the area has been dealt with, so people are just getting back to their normal routines. Children running through the streets, the bakers, certainly the bakery being open very early in the morning, the smell of dough, and everything settles down and it is peaceful. When you check in on Hans and Jenric and Eric, it is pretty much the same scene as you encountered on the day after the celebration. Eric is running around doing his best to quite literally put out fires and provide tea and food, while Jenric and Hans are deep embroiled in study and work. Obviously Hans imparting his knowledge to Jenric, and you can see that Jenric has already started with the knowledge that has been imparted to him so far, has started to almost decode little bits of the second half of the code required. And it is kind of 3-4 days into this kind of pleasant bit of downtime that you've got, and you're getting regular updates from Esther and Otto, letting you know that they're all right. Perhaps Otto occasionally comes back to the ship to collect more supplies from Paul, and they would inform you when they start making the trip back to town. Obviously, the items, the crates with everything in tow, and a couple of bodies. So you are more than prepared when you see them approaching 5 minutes out. You're stood at the northern gate waiting for the return of your friends. And indeed you can see miners walking along, and there's a big brown bear shambling amidst them all as they return to town. Dragging behind them a large cart, one of the upturned ones from outside the mine, which is obviously laden with carefully wrapped bodies and cargo, basically. What are you doing when you see Otto and co returning?
I think Ogvar would sort of go out to meet them. Things that obviously aren't bodies, he would help with carrying, and just sort of greet them and welcome them back in, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think that they would greet them back together. It's, they've become quite bonded, whilst they were individuals that didn't really know each other at the start, months and months previously. Right now, they're very bonded. They've lived together, they've fought together, they've saved each other's lives. So yeah, there's actually a strong bond in a very short space of time, I think.
Yeah. So you escort the miners back into town. You see some of them split off to head into their houses. They are coated in layers of silver dust and dirt. You can see where they've tried to clean their hands and their face, like it's like a kind of like a almost like a moon of cleanliness, and then the rest of it's just grubby and silvery and dirty. As obviously they've been hard at work for 4 days and they haven't had a chance to really properly bathe. So some of the miners split off, some of them make noises. They continue on with Otto with this wagon loaded, intending to head down to the church and inquire about Evan, about how he's getting on. And the wagon, the convoy makes its way down.
I think, sorry to interrupt, I think probably Okvar and Allura would have, obviously, Allura definitely went to the church, but I think they would have both checked on Evan during those days as well. That's definitely something they would have done, is visit Evan.
Yeah, sure. So Otto draws the wagon outside of the church before unburdening himself and turning back into his normal elderly form. Lena has been informed that the miners are returning, and it has been informed obviously that there will be bodies to prepare for burial. She comes out to greet you, Evan walking behind her. His throat is still bandaged, he's obviously still recovering, and he does look the worse for wear. He's obviously struggling to cope with his injuries, coming to terms with the fact that he will probably never speak again. But he is dutifully assisting Lena, bringing along tools that she requires to prepare graves. You see he's carrying a shovel and some other various bits of more religious accoutrements that she would need to conduct rituals and to conduct burial practices. The miners who are with you, who are with the group, help offload the bodies, and they are able to identify them. And there are a couple of names where obviously they're townsfolk, they're people who are who were obviously once residents of the town, and Lena is upset by this, and a crowd is starting to form, a crowd is drawing in. Obviously the news has spread that the miners have returned from the mine and they've brought some bodies back with them to be buried, and you again get this scene of people kind of being upset, crying, obviously seeing the bodies of their loved ones who obviously are now confirmed to be dead. But there's also a certain amount of relief as well, as people get the closure to know that their family member isn't somewhere out there in the world, being experimented on or tortured. They are dead, and their body is here for them to bury. And it's as the miners are going down this line of corpses, obviously pulling back cloths to check the faces, to obviously give the correct name and give that closure, the final body in the line is one that has been extracted from under Galor's form. It was the body that was sacrificed while you were in the room, very clearly denoted by the large slice across its throat. And with the reveal of this person, Lena shudders and almost collapses forward, and would have probably fallen to her knees had Evan and yourselves and a couple of other people not been there to support her. As through sobs you hear the name Samuel. The once strong and lively leader of this town, now confirmed to be dead, lying cold on the ground.
Great. Marvellous.
Lena eventually gathers herself back together, and the cloth is pulled back over the body. as she turns to you, to Otto, thanking you once again through juddering breaths for everything that you've done.
I think Allura wouldn't say too much, excuse me, other than I think she would sort of pull Lena just to one side slightly and say, we saw this one in the mine before it all kicked off. I saw who killed him and I saw how he was killed. The only thing I can say to you, Lena, is that it was very quick. It was very quick. He wouldn't have suffered. It was very quick. I don't know whether that brings you any comfort at all. And that's all she will say, really. I think Allura would just turn away. I think she'd find it too hard to look into Lena's eyes, to be fair, because Allura is well used to painful loss on this journey.
Yeah. And with that, the majority of the crowd who have gathered, who are not related to any of these individuals, starts to disperse. There's perhaps an awkwardness where people, they offer comfort to Lena, but they can't really console her. So people gradually begin to turn away unless it's one of their relatives whose corpse has been retrieved, in which case they do hang around, obviously, to help out and assist with burial preparations. And you see the grim set of Evan's face as he kind of awkwardly pats Lena on the shoulder and then moves towards the rear of the church, where there is a small graveyard, shovel in hand, clearly looking to go and dig some holes.
Okay.
So, with that, the mood of the town has sombered slightly. Things are a tad more serious and a tad more dour, as obviously people have now got to bury the bodies. With the dispersing crowds, the miners disperse as well. A couple of them check in on Evan, give him a squeeze, give him a "how you doing, laddie" kind of thing, until you're pretty much left on your own. Allura, Ogvar, Otto, Esther, Kaif, all stood in the centre of town, thinking of your next moves. And it is at that point that you see approaching you Eric. He's out of breath, he's running, he's clearly dived out of Hans's house, looking to find you, as he waves madly in your direction.
Oh God, I'm not going to have to create water, am I?
You know what? Give me a d20 roll, but high or low.
High.
High is good.
Yeah, high is good. Well, there you go. It's an 8.
Okay. Sounds about right. So approaching you, Eric gasps out, "It's he's done it. He's got it. He thinks."
Who's got what?
Genric, he's him and Hans. They finished.
Already? Oh my God, that was quick. Ogvar, we need to go to Hans's now.
Okay, make haste.
So she's going to dash off past Eric and go.
Okay, so you two dash off past Eric, Otto shambling along at the rear, Kaif walking beside him, Esther kind of half running behind you but keeping pace with Eric, who is kind of jogging after the pair of you, as you all make your way in procession to Hans's house. You don't wait on any ceremony, you don't knock, you don't wait to be called in, you just open the door. You've been in and out of Hans's house enough times now to know that, that they're probably not going to answer the door.
It's got a revolving door by now, is it?
Pretty much, yeah. So you're able to enter in, and as you enter in, Alora, you are assaulted, your nostril is assaulted by the harsh sting of smoke. As you look around, you see that Hans and Jenric have clearly tried to burn the excess paper that they've accumulated through the transfer of knowledge, and clearly some of it has rolled back out of the grate. This isn't a particularly large fire, but it's rolled back out of the grate and has started burning on the floor, and part of the rug is now in flames. And the pair of them are kind of just running around flapping at this point. So if you've got a spell to do it, or even if you want to go and grab a pail of water or a kettle of water from the sink, you can put out the fire.
God damn it, Jenric is a wizard, isn't he? Why can't he put it out? She's going to cast Create Water. Probably a little bit more water than she actually needs, but she's going to create water in a bit of a panic to just try and put it out on the rug.
Yeah, you splash water down and it soaks the rug and it floods the floor, and the fire gets a little bit of dousing and it gutters and stutters before picking back up again. And the smell of acrid burning is strong in the air. The smell of kind of like raw wool burning as the rug has been eaten away.
The smell of burning is strong in this one.
It is. It is indeed.
So it's still on fire, or has it gone out?
It's been put out now.
Oh, good.
It's been put out.
Across it and squelch.
Yes. Yeah.
Squelch. Oh, good God! What are you two doing? Why did you set the place on fire? Oh, never mind that now. Eric said that you'd managed to decode.
Oh, yes. Hans has done his best to teach me a new trick or two, and yes, I do believe that I will be able to decode the rest of the codex.
Well, okay, that's fantastic. That's absolutely brilliant. Great. You do realise that we're going to need to... That means we're going to need to get this back as soon as possible. You know that, don't you?
Yes. And Hans looks towards you, and he nods wisely. Time only flows forwards.
Yeah, but that's true. Yeah, I think Alora would just be stood there on the squelchy rug and just not knowing what to say next, really.
Okay. So, you make the decision as a group, and with Hans's words, you know that this has always been a time-sensitive mission, and it's taken you longer than you would have hoped. 4.5 years, much longer than we hoped at this point. But it's taken you far longer than you'd hoped to get to this point. There's been many pitfalls and many obstacles in your path, and time really is of the essence. And it is with that you make the conscious decision as a group that you will be leaving as soon as possible. With that being said, there is then a great flurry of activity from everyone as Eric and Esther and Kaif begin to run around procuring supplies. I imagine Otto heads back to the ship to start, to go and say hi to Bojo, who's been left aboard all this time, and to just go and have a rest, basically. He's been working non-stop. I assume that Ogvar, you might go to the ship and start getting it ready to take flight.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep. And Elora, I'm not sure what you would be doing.
I think she would be checking that all the companions were together and look towards getting them on board the ship.
Yep.
Check that Orland is okay. She'd have probably taken Orland off Ogvar if she hadn't already, and just checking that everything is good with Orland. I think she'll go and see Lena, explain that they need to leave quickly, but they will return at some point. They will return at some point.
Sure.
Yeah. I think she would also leave one. She would probably take her amulet and leave it with Hans.
Okay.
And sort of have said to him, this is how you can reach us.
Yeah.
This is how you can reach us. You can get us this way. I'll leave this here for the security of Gatstaff. If something goes wrong, you let us know.
Okay. So what I will say I suppose from more of a mechanical point of view, I think I would say you would know that obviously the part of the amulet that you have is almost like the master amulet. So you would have had to find one of your companions to, probably Esther or someone else, to basically take one which wasn't a master. But you would know that. You wouldn't just be handing out a willy-nilly. But you are more than able to do that, and Hans will take it and keep it. He does pass along a message as you leave. You are always welcome to return. Be safe out there.
And you be safe here, and you can guarantee that we will return. If there's anything you can do to help Evan, please do so. I will speak to Genric, and when we've completed this next task, I will ask Genric if he can help in some way. Genric is far more powerful than I. If there's something that can be done to help him, then Genric's the man, I'm sure.
Hans nods at you and lets you get on your way. So throughout all of this organised chaos, you were able to gather supplies for your journey. You weren't running low really in the first place, but you were able to gather supplies. You were able to gather all your companions up and everyone back on the ship. And by the time, I'd say, to be generous, probably an hour to get everything ready and everyone sorted and to inform the people that you need to inform that you're going. So by the time you've gathered yourself together, you're all back aboard the deck of the ship, ready to leave. The news of your departure has spread like a wildfire through the town. And again, people have left their houses. They're all kind of gathered up at the northern gate, waving you farewell, wishing you luck on your journey, inviting you to come back, thanking you profusely for your deeds and your actions. And they're just here to wave you off and wish you goodbye, essentially. And Ogvar, as you operate the ship's mechanisms, you use the orb to raise the ship up and bring it high above the level of the trees. The people below very quickly shrink into almost like miniature people, and their voices are quickly lost as you rise up and begin your journey towards Thraben.
Does the ship have a foghorn I can blow?
You know what? It's probably not a foghorn, but it will have a bell.
Ting!
Oh, that's a bit pathetic. It's a bit like having a meep horn, isn't it?
You toll the bell and everybody takes damage. No, sorry, you don't. It's a big bell. You're able to give it a bang, badang, badang as you leave, and it's a very clear note, which almost rings out and peals out incredibly loudly. As the people below you can hear the faint cheer and you can hear shouting and whooping as you make your journey northwards.
Okay.
Setting out, it doesn't take you long before you are passing the mountain which contains the mine. And soon after, you are crossing over the tree line, which denotes the divide of Kessig and Gavany. This almost horizontal line of trees that cuts across the middle of this plain, almost quite suddenly ending as you transfer from autumnal hinterland to foggy, undulating moors. And your journey is peaceful. Back in the air, you are buffeted by the various different winds. Airborne predators are circling warily at in the distance, but a couple of shots from your mechanisms and from Genric and Eric is more than enough to ward any creatures looking to prey upon you away. And
could have done with that help when we had the bees.
Allura will just pull her face and wince. And she's going to glance to the stairs on the top deck, thinking about how she tried to shelter under them.
Yeah. You spend the next few days crossing over the moors. This very undulating up and down land, which is boggy in some places, marshy in others. You get a very strong kind of almost peaty smell from some areas. This is truly wild. You can see the grass below is rough and stubby, very much kind of like hillside grass, very coarse looking, and there's lots of brush and gorse kind of dotting this area in vast swathes. This isn't farmland of any kind. This is wild land. And as you begin making your way north, the city of Thraben is but a smudge on the horizon. At the brightest point in the day, you can barely see a silvery blob, like a faint silvery blob, which you imagine to be the Hellvault. Just beyond that. But looking to your left, you've got the East Gaia Reach, this big, broad mountain range, which towers almost like a knobbly, like a spine on your left-hand side. To the right, you almost fancy that as you travel up, you could see, perhaps, if that mountain were in the way, you might be able to see Selhoff. You might be able to see Junau. Sorry, not Selhoff, sorry, Junau. On the horizon, the Bay of Vustro lying just beyond. But these tall, towering peaks just stand in the way, just break your line of sight. But you get, images, flashbacks, and memories of your time in Junau, the Nebelgast, all of your adventures that happened on that coastline as you travel up the province. It takes you several days before you reach the town of, the large town of Ulstead. There's trees surrounding it and some more flatter farm-type land. And you're able to stop off briefly to restock on some supplies. And it is here, Ogvar, that you would be able to send your postcard via courier, entrusting it to one of the some of the riders that operate up and down on these almost highways through the land, carrying messages and goods, small goods from the various different areas. And that
it's a shame we didn't. It's a shame we didn't fly over the area of Kessig. You could have sent Murdoch down.
I was thinking that.
You thinking about that?
I was thinking about the fact that we've parked a big flying ship on a bloke on a horse. Can you deliver this for me? And the bloke's looking and going, "You've got the flying ship."
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, stopping briefly in Ulstead, you were able to restock, resupply, send off your messages. But that obviously we're reaching Ulstead, and this is probably taking you maybe 4 or 5 days to reach Ulstead, even via the ship. That you've still got 3 or 4 days left before you get to Thraben. The smudge-like city on the horizon has grown ever bigger. So not wasting any time, you restock, you resupply, do whatever you need to do, and then set course again, travelling towards the large city.
One of the evenings during this last 3 to 4 days, obviously Laura's been enjoying the downtime. She's been filling in her journal, bringing it up to date with everything that's happened, having to relive it again through her own writing, but it's necessary. one evening meal, when everybody is sat at the refectory table, she will sit down and tell everybody, while they're all together, that she has agreed to purchase Stonewell Hall. And she will extend an invitation to everybody to reside with her, come and go as they please, invite Eric and Genric if they want to set the tower up nearby, or if not, it can be a stopping point for them and they're welcome at any time. And everybody should take time to consider what they'd like to do, but it is an open door policy and there will always be room for them. She considers them all her trusted companions. And she will extend that to Kaif as well, because she feels that he has passed a turning point. She just feels that. And she will actually privately extend an invitation for Kaif to stay with them, and they will keep him on the straight and narrow, and he can sort of, I suppose, repent for his poor decisions in his own way.
Okay. You are, with that statement, you are met with, I suppose, everyone will have their own individual reaction, but certainly Esther is gasping in admiration. She's very excited at the prospect of obviously you becoming a homeowner at your young age and etc. etc. Kaif is grateful to you for thinking of him, even though he is kind of just tagging you along because he's not really sure what he should be doing. Genric and Eric are, oh yes, that's marvellous, sir. What a project. When I built my first tower, it was a labour of love, and I'm sure it'll be the same for your first house, kind of thing. As I think the general mood is probably going to be really positive and just a general sense of excitement at your statement.
Yeah. I think she would privately say to Esther as well. She's already spoken to the others, but she would also say to Esther, Esther, I'm aware of the fact that you've left your home for so many years at the Church of Dranau, but maybe you don't want to hang your adventurer's hat up just yet, but maybe you would like to come and permanently live with me?
Well, I'd be honoured, dearie.
It's an open-ended offer.
I'd be honoured.
I'd be very happy to have you. Very happy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that covers it, really.
Yeah.
She'll raise a toast in celebration.
Yep. And you do. You have a good celebration that night. Paul has spared no expense with the food. You've got a large, almost buffet spread, and you're able to have a good time. And it is 3 days later that you reach the lake of Thraben. This big body of water that sits just south of the city, which, Elora, you would be intensely familiar with. This lake, which almost serves as a central turning point for travelling down to, she says with a tiny map, not having used this, Havengull. This central lake, which kind of almost serves as a large port for the city of Thraben. One river branching down to Havengull, the other one heading down towards Stensia way. These kind of two arterial flows. And Ogvar, you are able to bring the ship down into this lake with a splash. You can see ahead of you that the city is built right up to the edge of the water, a large dock in place. And could everyone please make me a spot check?
Oh, yes indeed.
Okay.
Spot check is going to be...
I've rolled a 10 with a plus 14 for a 24.
Oh my
Nice.
God. I've started off I'm finishing off the way I started, really. I've got a natural 1 + 7 for an 8 for Alora. She must be very excited.
Right.
Blinded by the light coming off the lake.
So while Alora is going man overboard, Ogvar, you are able to bring the ship down nice and steadily into the lake, and it is as you are travelling towards the city, towards where you can see the port, not really sure where you're going to drop the ship, that you catch sight of a kerfuffle at the docks. As a platoon of riders astride white horses, certainly not all white, but a big proportion of them are white. Horses burst through the smaller city streets, dockside streets, and you see them kind of almost flood into the harbour area. People scatter. Leading them is a very familiar figure to you, Ogvar. As you see the figure, even at this distance, you're able to tell who it is, of Armin Ducasse astride his great white stallion. As he brings his mount, his charger, to the front of the rapidly forming ranks, and begins shouting orders. You can hear his voice booming out across the water. He begins shouting orders. And as you make a slow approach, you actually see that a large ship removes itself from the harbour, moves itself undocks, and basically moves out of the way as Armin begins waving a large white banner, a large white and silver banner stitched with the symbol of Avacyn, hailing your ship, and kind of almost beckoning you into dock.
Okay. Yeah, Ogvar will attempt to park the boat.
Yeah. Could you give
Roar it.
Could you give me a vehicle check for the ship, a sailing check, please?
Oh, here we go.
Sailing. Yeah, I've written that sailing. There we are. A whole +3 to
This is where he's going to do that, slam the anchors on, go sideways into the parking bay perfectly again, isn't it?
Or it could go very wrong and everyone falls off the side. Oh, no, we did all right. I rolled an 18 with a +3 for a 21.
Oh, very good.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
I like it.
You were able to bring the ship into a nice, a very gentle dock. And as you lower gangplank, the figure that you expect to see, Armin Ducasse in his full armoured glory, strides up to stand on the top deck, hailing as he calls out, "Hello, friends. How are we all doing?"
Well, Alora, now noticing this, seeing as he's come on board, she's wasting no time in. She's taking her hat off and she's doing a nice twirly bow with her hat round in a bit of a circle and say, "Is it morning or afternoon?" She's not going to say that. She's not going to ask that question. No, but I'm asking you, is it morning or afternoon?
This will be early afternoon.
Okay, she will say, "Good afternoon, Mr. Ducasse. How very nice to see you again." Only it would probably be more like, "Good afternoon, Mr. Ducasse. It's very nice to see you again."
The first bit sounded like a Bond villain.
I'm going to have a white cat and I'm going to be stroking it.
God.
No, we'll have no jokes about that. Let's move on.
Yeah. No, it's too obvious. We wouldn't lower ourselves to that, would we?
Gussie Palor.
Jesus Christ. Armin flashes a charming smile towards you, and kind of slaps his leg. "Well, I suppose if you're here, then I can assume that you've accomplished what you set out to do."
That we have. I'm assuming by this time Jenric would have actually finished decoding it.
Oh,
We didn't
yes,
actually ask
yes,
that, did we? It's a small thing, yeah.
Yes, he would have finished decoding it.
Yeah, indeed we have. And I think that a big meeting is in order because we have much to impart. None of it particularly good, but we have information far beyond the tasking that Kewin was given that may help you significantly. And the sooner that is imparted, the better.
Well, no time to waste then. Follow me. And he leads you off the ship. He leads you back down to where his men are waiting on astride their horses. Some are stood still, some are circling. Obviously, the horses are impatient. And who are you taking with you?
Probably generic.
Definitely generic.
Yeah, Hans,
Esther.
Eric, Esther.
Okay.
We should really take Otto. We should offer Otto the chance to go. I mean, he's dressed a little better these days, but we should offer Otto the chance to go. But I think maybe the companions, perhaps that's not the right place for them.
Okay. So are you taking Kaif or are you leaving Kaif?
I think we would leave
Yeah.
Kaif. Maybe Alora in her head would be thinking, maybe Kaif could do some with offering his services to the church for a little while to broaden his horizons. And that may help him to make decisions about what happens from there. They could probably do with a young man like Kaif and make good use of him. But she's going to leave him on the boat, I think they would choose to leave him behind for now. That's a conversation that she would suggest perhaps to Armin later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of you going, I think there's 3, 4, 5 of you? No, 6. 6 of you.
6, yeah.
The 6 of you who leave the ship following Armin.
7.
6, is it? No, it's 7 with Kaif, but you're not taking it.
No Otto.
You're not.
Is that right?
Are you not taking Otto with you?
We've got... Yes, I think we'd give Otto the option.
3 magic people.
Yes.
And then us 3 PCs and Esther. 7.
Is that right? 7?
Sorry.
So
We're having maths
So
problems.
hang on. So
This is nothing new.
Hang
4.5 years and we're still having maths problems.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Otto,
Eric.
Eric. No, Zach, stop. Jesus. Otto, Elora, and Ogfar. Eric, Genric, and Esther.
What about Hans?
He's not with us.
That'll be 6 then.
The 6.
6.
There we go.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all happy
sure?
with 6.
Yeah.
No more offers.
Okay.
That's the number you need for a lottery win. Isn't
What about the bear?
So these 6 of you follow Armin down the gangplank, and 5
Thraben Lotto.
and 5 of his men.
Sorry.
5 of his men dismount from their horses as they see you approaching. Otto having already mounted up on Bojo's back and clearly not sitting astride a pony. So they offer their horses to you. They give you a leg up. You're able to get onto the horse's back. And as soon as you are seated, Armin leads you and the rest of his platoon back up the city, through the city.
We're not doubling up on Armin's horse, no? Oh, okay.
No, that's not an option.
Never mind.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
The remaining men who've given you, the men and women who've given you their horses, immediately post up at the entrance to the pier where you are docked at, obviously providing security and making sure that nobody messes with your ship. You are led through the city. The city is tall. It is a tall city. There are many different layers to its construction. Elora, you'd be familiar with perhaps the lower layers, but going up further into the top levels of the city, this is where you'd have more of your noble housing, more of your more priestly buildings, more religious buildings. And it's certainly not somewhere that you are probably so familiar with. You would have never really been invited to the de Greymont estate that frequently, so it would be more Casper coming to you rather than you going to Casper. You are led through the city, up cobbled streets, your horse's hooves clattering as you follow Armin, and he gives you almost like a whistle-stop tour of, oh, that's the best tavern down here, this is this over here, this is this over here, that street is over there, as you fly by at such a pace that, you know, sometimes you actually see sparks coming from the horse's shoes as they hit like a more irony compound of stone. The horses, the rest of the men behind you clattering behind, as people are pushed to the sides of the streets and make a clear route for you to follow Armin.
Make a hole, make a hole. I like that. It's good.
Very quickly, there is a hubbub as people are kind of whispering, oh, what's going on, or who knows, or maybe it's strange to see Ducasse out on such a mission. You know, you get lots of whisperings and lots of like comments, but clearly nobody really knows who you are or what you're doing, which is exactly how it should be with a mission of this sensitivity. It's not long at all, a 10-minute ride before you are clattering to a stop outside the cathedral at Thraben. Dismounting, Armin leads you inside. You enter through the large wooden doors of this cathedral, inlaid with silver. And this is something you've noticed. All of these buildings, especially the noble buildings, there is lots and lots of silver decorations, lots and lots of silver embellishments. But certainly this is the most embellished building you have seen. The front of this cathedral is beautiful. Carved marble arches, almost very gothic design to windows and decorations and all the stone detailing. But you can see obviously that there's a lot of silver inlaid as well, and it's almost over the top ostentatious. Like, there doesn't need to be silver studding on the doors, but there is anyway. And going inside, you open up into this large, echoing, cavernous space. And wherever you look, there is silver ornamentation, there is silver candlesticks, silver collection plates, a font which looks like it's made entirely out of silver. Everything has been touched by silver, essentially, in this room. And you are led through. The interior is quiet and echoing. There is hardly a soul about, and the sound of Armin's armour clanking as he steps forward is jarring in this silence. As he leads you through, you can see down the rows of pews towards a central altar, where you see a elaborate altar to the Archangel Avacyn. Beautiful sculptures of her likeness, of her representation, the actual square stone, which you imagine would normally be a stone, it looks like it's made entirely out of one large block of silver, carved to show scenes of Avacyn in flight leading her angelic host, very Ark of the Covenant style, very ostentatious. As you can see, offerings, fresh flowers, incense burning in thuribles. It's very, very lavish. You are led to a side room, Armin opening the door and ushering you in, making sure you're seated as he orders a young priest, go fetch some refreshments for our friends here, something light. Be quick about it as well. As the priest scurries off, bowing in deference to all of you, obviously not knowing why, but obviously this is an order that he has received. He's following it with the utmost obedience. As Armin settles you in, he looks toward you. I will be back with you presently. I'm going to fetch your sponsor. Please stay here. As he turns and the door shuts, and you are left in this smaller room. It's smaller, but I wouldn't use the word cosy. The ceiling is high and vaulted, it is cold, And although there is a small fire burning to heat this space, it doesn't feel at all comfortable. It's very... the atmosphere is very aloof and very distant. While you wait for Armin to return, this young priest returns. He's carrying with him a tray of offerings. Very simple, silver tea set with tea, some very plain looking biscuits, something light. And he settles them down on a table in front of you and leaves you to serve yourselves as he backs out of the room bowing. It isn't long after that, a couple of minutes, when you hear the familiar sound of Armin's armour clanking once again. And he reaches the door, and you hear him stop. The handle turns, the door opens as he steps through, and he then stands to the side, bowing his head, as a large figure enters following him. He looks to you all, Armin does, nods slightly, and closes the door as he leaves you alone in the room with this figure. This figure is alien to all of you. None of you know this person. The only person who would know of him is no longer with you. The man is large, but not large in the way that Armin or Kewin were large in terms of having trained and done heavy work. He is large in the terms of someone who has lived a life of luxury with very little exercise. He is not massively grotesquely overweight, but he is a burly, stocky figure. Elderly, as he looks at all of you. You have decoded the codex.
Most of us, not personally. But Genric and his friend Hans, between them, we took them the codex because they were the only ones that could decode it. It was a blend of two codes that would be written by each of their own hand.
Yes. Hand it over.
So we found...
And he thrusts out a large hand, his long robe sleeves, and he's wearing this white priestly robe, very, very ornate, full of silver detailing. The cuffs on this thing are several inches wide, of just solid silver, almost like solid silver embroidery and decoration. As it flops over his hand, he puts a hand out, palm upturned, and you see his hands are baby soft. Slightly pudgy, baby soft, very round and blunt fingernails, as he kind of holds out this hand, and it's the hand of a man who has never endured hardship, physical hardship.
I would imagine that we would look towards the end of the table, towards Genric, and then perhaps past the scrolls or scroll down the table from person to person, and then I would hand it to Macias. Was there not a mug, or was that a picture of Gerhardt on the mug?
No.
It was
actually,
Macias, wasn't it?
There was one of Macias,
I'm sure.
But you will need to make me a wisdom check, please.
Oh God, I get a -1 on that. It's a 6 -1. I'm giving up on these dice. Can somebody who supports us, one of our listeners, buy me a really nice set of dice for our next campaign? Thank you very much.
Okay, so while you as Sam might very well infer that this is Macias, Elora doesn't know. You think there is a vague semblance, but the Toby type jug that you were looking at was a caricature jug, and it greatly emphasised some of the features to the point where you think, but you don't want to offend if it is this person.
So don't pull the jug out of... because I think I've got the jug actually in a bag, so I won't pull that out at this point.
You look thinner in the jug.
Put the scroll in the jug and pass it down the table.
Probably not a good idea, no.
No, she doesn't do that.
Okay. You are able to... actually, while both of you look at Genric, can you please make me a wisdom check again, both of you?
Oh, good grief. I'm so
Wisdom
rubbish at these checks. Oh, okay. That's a 16 minus 1 for a 15
Okay.
for Laura.
11 with the +1 for a 12.
Okay, yeah, no, over 10 you're fine. You would both notice as you look down towards Genric that there is a tightening in his features. He clearly recognises this person. There is that level of recognition as he very stiffly reaches into his robe pocket and produces it's not a scroll, it is the book, it is a actual book in itself. And you would know that what has been happening as Genric decoded the book, he was basically translating what had been written over the top of the letters. So he was writing it above the actual lines in the book that Katerina had originally written.
Okay.
So he produces this now battered looking journal and hands it down to Eric, who hands it to Esther, who hands it to Otto, who hands it to Bojo, who hands it to Ogvar, who hands it to you, and then you presumably hand it to this man.
The music stops and I unravel it. Sorry, continue.
So I'm assuming you hand it to this man, yes?
Yes.
Okay. You hand it, you place it in his outstretched palm as he takes it, briefly opens it and flicks through the pages. Looks down at all of you where you sit, quite imperious and quite cold. You have done well, I suppose.
I think Elora would just stare at him with a very fixed stare. What does her eye of Abyssin see?
Your eye of...
About his aura.
Avacyn. Ooh, now that is an interesting question. The eye of Avacyn, as you look at him, reveals an aura that is silver when you first look upon him. As you peer at him slightly more, you notice a very faint red threading throughout the aura. Not so obvious on the first glance, but almost like a holographic shimmer. Like the light catches it slightly differently and you just see the tinges of red before it goes back to silver.
Right. Okay, she'll chew the inside of her lip a little bit, but she's sat within reaching distance of him. She's just going to wait to see what happens next.
He continues to stare at you as he tucks the book away into a pocket on his robe.
Yeah, she's going to note that.
Well, I have matters to attend to now. You will remain here, and you will tell Armin of what you know. And he turns and walks to the door, opening it up.
Elora doesn't like this. She doesn't like this.
Opening up as he exits, walking past Armin, who stands there and bows again, and disappears deeper into the church. Armin enters, shutting the door behind him, his demeanour almost defrosting slightly as he relaxes and turns to face all of you. Yes, the Lunarch Micaeus has spoken. You will be compensated for what you have done and what you have achieved, and we will now, I've been instructed to learn everything from your journeys.
think Alora would stand and she would stare quite pointedly at Armin and say, how do I know that I can entirely trust the Lunarch Macias? I find him quite abrupt and quite rude, and I'm not entirely convinced.
Armin eyes you. Miss Alora, it would be wise in this city to choose your words with caution. The Lunarch has only got the best intentions for this plane and for the Archangel. That you can trust. After all, it was him who tasked you with this quest.
He did not task me. He tasked Hewin de Greymont. I do not work for Macias. I am not in his employ, nor am I in his direct service. I come here of my own free will, along with my companions. How do you know that you can trust him? How do you know?
I trust in the lady, Miss Alora, and the lady has chosen him. That is what I trust. There are secrets in this Silver City that we will never know.
And I'm sure that that is true. At the end of the day, the Codex, we don't know what it really contains. Genric knows. I've not read it. We kept it to ourselves. He kept it to himself. I hope that it provides the church with what they need to help.
As do I, Miss Alora.
We have to trust in that.
As do I, Miss Alora. That I hope will free the lady. But for now, there is nothing more that we can do.
Seemingly. Her face will soften again, and then she will sit back down. She's not entirely satisfied. She's satisfied with Armin's response. She doesn't feel that there is anything peculiar in Armin's response. It was more the dismissiveness of the fact that we had taken something on that we were never tasked with and still provided. It was rude, it was arrogant. But then, I suppose in some way she thinks that perhaps people in hierarchical positions like that, it's not unusual that they are so far up their own backsides. Okay, yeah, she's just thinking this to herself. And she's kind of eyeballing down the line, and she's meeting Genric's gaze.
Yeah. As you return to your seat and sit down and make yourself comfortable once again, the atmosphere in the room changes. Armin eases himself down onto a chair, pulls out a leather-bound book and writing implements. Now then, please tell me of your stories, so that we can bring this chapter to a close.
Well, I think you might need another pot of tea, because this indeed is a very long story.
Yes, 4.5 years long.
Yeah, she will begin. In fact, she will begin at Gloomrest. She will start the story. She will begin the story, and I think probably Ogvar would perhaps interject and fill in some of the blanks. I think the key moments here is, and Esther would be able to join in from a certain point within the journey, and then Otto further along, and Genric and whatnot. I think one of the things that she would point out is that aside from the decoding of the codex, she would point out that during their journey, when they get to the part where they come across what was what was the ship called? It was the Elysian Shadow now. What was it? It was the Shattered Moon. Yes. And they came across the Shattered Moon at Saltstone. She would tell the story of what happened with Vero, which is obviously where Kewin fell. She would explain and say to Armin that they had journals aboard the ship, which she was happy for Armin to have, but they were not for the church to keep. They were her private property, or their private property. She would explain that in there it explained about the 3 prongs of the trident, which I'm sure the church are fully aware of, the symbol of Skursdag with the trident within it and the eye, and that apparently the 3 prongs were someone called Vero, someone called Stavros, and someone called Istroth. Vero they had dispatched, who was the Lich. Stavros had revealed herself to them in the mines, and only now could they take an educated guess that the person, the seemingly boss of some description or hierarchy of the cult, that they had met under the somehow gone through some kind of portal, I think, from the top of the lighthouse to under the drunken mire. That person that revealed themselves there, she now feels that by deduction was probably Istroth, but she cannot confirm that. It is just a feeling that may have been the 3rd prong, which strangely was the first one that they came across, but they didn't know it at the time. So she's just deducing that and saying that is what she believes, but they would need to confirm that. I think between them, probably Otto would say that they'd gathered some crates, that he'd gathered some crates of information, some unburned papers, some samples. Obviously would have explained the horrors that had gone on, and the testing and chemicals and the laboratory in the mine, and that these people were really powerful, far more powerful than certainly Allura. But she looks to Genric because she knows that Genric in his own way is powerful. He's able to create all kinds of things. He just doesn't use them apparently for anything but more positive purposes for himself or others. More of an inventor than somebody who wields their power to gain an advantage. But she doesn't really know exactly how powerful Genric is, and they've never discussed it.
Okay. So over the next couple of days, you were able to impart everything that you wished to Armin. You were able to tell him the story from Kewin's acceptance of the mission through to how you arrived to where you are today. Armin dutifully writes down every word that you say, occasionally going back over things and to ensure that the account that he is taking down is correct.
Yeah.
And it is with that your story is written as we bring this campaign to a close.
Oh, wow. Wow. So much information to impart in all of that, and yet so many questions unanswered, isn't it? But then that was never our task. It was never our task, was it, to untangle the cult. That was merely happenstance along the way.
All 3 Abyssin.
Yes, all 3 Abyssin. No, it was only ever to decode the codex, which we did.
Yeah.
In the absence of Kewin.
Yep. And we'll cover off any of those lingering questions in our post-campaign chat.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Yasmin, it's been an absolute pleasure to play out Elora for the last 4.5 years. It was only ever meant to be a 10 to 20 episoder, and here we are at 200.
Yep.
Can't believe it. Can't believe it.
What was the name of one of our first episodes? From Small Acorns to Big Trees Grow?
Yeah. From Little Acorns to Big Trees Grow. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Oh, God, that's amazing.
That's brilliant.
Thank you so much, Yasmin, for DMing this. It's been an amazing adventure. Just can't believe it's run so long. It's been so in depth. It's amazing. And yet in real-time story, it's probably 3 or 4 months that have passed.
Yeah, not long at all in game time, no.
No.
Well, it has been my absolute pleasure to do so, guys. And I'm sorry that Rick couldn't be here tonight to see this out. So, what is next, our dear listeners? First of all, thank you for accompanying us for the last 4.5 years on this journey. It's been a wild ride. So thank you for hanging in there and sticking with us through everything. What's next after the end of Secrets of the Silver City? We will be releasing a after campaign chat where we discuss all of those loose threads that are still hanging around, theories and possibilities, favourite moments, everything you can imagine, plus an exciting update about what lies in the future for us. So, without further ado, thank you for listening.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you to our listeners, followers, friends. Thank you to everybody for commenting. It's brilliant. And thank you to my co-players. Thank you, Ryan, for not only being a friend, but thank you for being Ogvar.
Yeah, it's great. It's my first episode recording was my first ever time playing D&D, so that was
yay!
It was well in at the deep end straight away.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Absolutely awesome. Brilliant. Right. And I guess that from us it's temporarily farewell until what comes forth, and there is plenty coming forth in the new year. Loads.
Yes.
You'll love it.
So make sure you catch our post-campaign chat to learn more. Okay.
Yes, and there will be an announcement going out on Facebook, social media. There's some big changes coming and a whole new set of scheduling in the new year. So yeah, I guess that's it from us, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So, round of applause. Yay! Dear listeners, friends and followers, things have at last run to a conclusion. With the missive now managed, our heroes achieved their goal, with most of them living long enough to tell their tale. And, to this end, next week we will be releasing a special episode, 201, in which the crew will be informing us of what their characters would do next, plus reminiscing all the best bits from the last 4 years of the campaign. We sincerely hope you will join us for that one too. And if you have any thoughts to share about the characters or the campaign in general, please get in touch. We would love to hear them. So, until next week, friends, we bid you adieu. But remember, as one door closes softly, so another bursts open into something exciting and new. Check out everything we have going on for 2026 and beyond at www.realmofrolls.co.uk.